We're just over 10 games into the 2025 MLB season, and something about this Blue Jays team feels off. They've definitely had their highs. That sweep against the Nationals finally looked like the team that we've all been waiting for, but then in that series against the Mets, everything changed, and the Jays couldn't seem to buy a run. Now, while early season inconsistency isn't unusual, there's been one issue that keeps showing up, one that's starting to raise eyebrows not just with fans but across the league. And if the Jays don't figure it out soon, it could end up costing them in a big way. What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In this one, we're going to be talking about that big problem that is currently holding the Toronto Blue Jays back from reaching the next level. Before we get into it, I encourage you guys to hit the like, smash the subscribe button, and of course, let me know your thoughts about all this in the comments down below. So right now, at the time of recording this video, the Toronto Blue Jays are currently 6-5 and second right now, or tied for second with the Boston Red Sox in their division. And honestly, like, this to start, I am very, very happy with. And there are definitely some things that the Toronto Blue Jays are doing well, right? Looking over at that pitching staff, I have no quarrels whatsoever with the Toronto Blue Jays pitching. Right now, they're ranked 12th in total ERA, and honestly, I think that this is just like a little misleading, right? Because it's including that first game where they blew up and gave up 12 runs. They haven't really been that squad in several series at this point. The starters look good. The bullpen is still a little bit questionable, but ultimately, I am very happy with where the pitchers are at. The same thing, though, can't really be said for the offense. Sure, they are scoring runs, right? You know, you look at their OPS right now, the Toronto Blue Jays are ranked 12th, and you think, okay, well, that's good, right? You know, 12th in OPS, that should be good enough. And most of the times, I would say, yeah, of course, you know, that is an above average hitting squad. Pair that with the pitching that is currently also ranked 12th in baseball, and you could see yourself being a wild card team. But one of the most important things in baseball is the home run ball, putting some runs on the board in one swing. And right now, the Toronto Blue Jays just can't do it, everybody. Scrolling down, we find them tied for last with the Tampa Bay Rays at 5 current home runs. That is not where you want to be, everybody. And looking, at the top of the league, you got the New York Yankees at 25 bombs right now. The LA Dodgers at 24. Granted, they've played a couple more games than everybody else, but like the Toronto Blue Jays are nowhere close to that right now. And that was a big area, I think, of concern for a lot of people. You know, last year, there wasn't a whole lot of pop, right? You had Guillermo Martinez and Don Mattingly and all these other guys doing this kind of small ball approach, poke it the other way, you know, string hits together, which is great. Like, I don't want to take anything away from that, but I think that they wanted to make a big adjustment this offseason, and that is why they ultimately brought in David Popkins, brought in Anthony Santander, made some moves, but so far, it is not paying off, everybody. Looking over at that Toronto Blue Jays lineup, I like the structure of it. I think that it makes sense, you know, especially with the way that Jimenez has started, albeit he has cooled off a little bit. But the problem is you're just not getting a whole lot of thump coming from these middle parts. You know, Bo Bichette's doing his job, getting himself on base. Guerrero is doing okay right now, but I do need to pick a little bit on Anthony Santander. 44 bombs last year, gets paid the big bag, and just so far is not looking like the guy that I think everybody hoped for, right? Flashing over to the baseball savant right here, folks. You can see that he's currently batting 200. He is walking a lot, which is actually like something to, you know, give him praise for. Currently, his walk percentage is at 16.7%, and you compare that to his career average of 7.4%. Obviously, he's getting on base a ton, so he's being a lot more patient. But that's also coming at the cost of just overall hits. You know, batting 200 and having a slugging of 225 right now, that's just not where we want to see Anthony Santander. And you look at the expected slugging here in the 17th percentile. Not great stuff right there. Flashing over to 2024, way different. way, way different, everybody. I mean, like, this is somebody that, yeah, you could expect to hit the ball hard and hit it consistently. And so far this season, that just hasn't been the case for Anthony Santander. He's got to get cooking. Ultimately, that is what they paid him to do, is hit home runs, and a 225 slugging is not good enough. Now, I do want to say we are only 11 games in. There is still tons of time left. And, do I think that Anthony Santander is going to be a 200 batting average guy? Of course not. I do not think that at all. That's not what I'm saying. But we do need to see a little bit more thump, because 5 bombs isn't enough. Now, the one guy who is leading the Toronto Blue Jays in home runs, Andrés Giménez, that's great, and I love it. But what concerns me is that I don't think that we can count on it, right? Looking at that expected slugging, he's in the 50th percentile, which is, pretty good when you consider that he was in the 18th percentile last year. But I do believe that this is closer to the guy that Andrés Giménez is going to be. Now, I know that he's changed up his batting stance. He's got more of a leg kick, so he is trying to get a little bit more power going, and I think that's awesome. Clearly, we are seeing some of the results right now. He's got a 513 slugging and an 867 batting average, or OPS, and 3 bombs. But I just don't want to be put in a position right now where Andrés Giménez is the person that we're relying on for that power, because ultimately, that's not where his key skill set lies, right? He steals bases, he gets on base, he walks a lot, and he does that really, really good, right? And in 2022, when he was having his all-star season, and had his 7.5 WAR or whatever it was, those are the things that he excelled at. And honestly, I want that on the Toronto Blue Jays, because let's face it, we don't really have a stolen base threat, and having a strong on-base guy is also very, very important. Looking over here, 5 home runs isn't a lot, everybody, and we can see there are only 3 guys who have contributed to it at all, those being Andrés Giménez, Tyler Heineman, and George Springer. Now, that's great that they are all on the board, but I look at all of them right now, and I think, okay, well, how much longer can we just kind of count on that, rely on that? Heineman barely plays. He's only been in 3 games so far. Kirk is owning that catching spot. George Springer has really turned over a new leaf, and I'm just fingers crossed, praying that he can keep doing what it is that he is doing. But, the guy's 35, and last year was a major, major fall off. So, are we going to be kind of relying and counting on George Springer to be that power? No. We need to have Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and we need to have Anthony Santander start to slug, right? That's got to be what this is, and that is ultimately the big problem that's holding the Toronto Blue Jays back right now from being one of those top teams in baseball. Looking over at this past schedule, the pitching did everything that they could, right? Especially in that Mets series. All right, game 1, not so great. You lose 5-0. You're going to lose that one regardless. But then the following game, pitching gives up, for a large part of the game, they were doing great, right? They end up giving up 3 runs, but Toronto Blue Jays have 1 more home run in that game. Boom, different story. Now they have another win in the column. The following game on Sunday, 2-1. I mean, when your pitchers give you only 2, or give up, only 2 runs to the opposing team, that is a game that you should win almost 10 times out of 10. You get 1 more home run in that game, boom, different story. Now, instead of being tied for second in the AL East, you're up there at number 1. Whoa, time for a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video. Hit your picks and knock it out of the park with Betway. Scan the QR code down below to join the action. Only available in Ontario. Must be 19 years of older to participate. Please play responsibly. Now, everyone, back to the content. So far, a lot of the other aspects of this team are doing well. The batting average is good. The OPS is good. The on-base is fine. The pitching is fine. Even the bullpen that a lot of people were worried about right now, the bullpen to start, it is doing well. So far, the big issue with this team is the lack of power right now, the lack to be able to get one swing that will give them the lead, that will have them in a dominant position for the rest of the game, that will allow them to pitch their good bullpen guys and then have the opposing team pitch their bad bullpen guys. That is what we're missing. And as much as I love this kind of stringing hits together thing that they're doing, the occasional stolen base from Andrés Giménez, All of that is great. The walks from Anthony Santander, also great. We need to get the power back here, folks, because that is something that, as this season goes on, is eventually going to cost them. But, folks, let me know what you think about all this in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. And as always, go Jays, go.